Hey, it's Nikki Thompson, and you're listening to Tea with Nikki, embracing your sexual energy. Now, today's topic, we're going to be diving into why it's so hard when we aren't fully connected with ourselves and where we often look for that connection, and it's usually in the wrong places. So before we get into that, I would just love if you could subscribe to this podcast on whatever you're listening to right now and leave a review or a rating. That would be unreal. It really does help to get the podcast out to as many people as possible, because that's the whole point. I want to be able to open the conversation up for women around sex, sexuality, embracing their sexual energy, and what it even means, because I feel as though we are all ready for a much deeper conversation. So let's get into today's topic. So when we are fully disconnected from our body or disconnected from our bodies, we tend to look in all the wrong places for that connection. So let me break that down for you first. When I talk about being disconnected from our bodies, usually that will look like you stand in front of the mirror and you're just disgusted by what you see, or you struggle to point out anything good about your physical body. You might kind of feel as though you need to restrict, to punish your body because of the weight or the wrinkles or the cellulite or whatever it is that you feel disgusted by. You start to restrict out of being disgusted or being unhappy about your body. We don't all feel disgusted with our bodies when we're in that disconnected space, but we're not happy with them. Okay, and that we can feel like it's not our body. So for me, I've had 3 children and 2 natural births, and then I had a cesarean for my last one. And it was a big difference between having a natural birth and a cesarean. And because the cesarean messed up my body more than the natural births did, the cesarean left me with this massive overhang of excess skin over the scar. And I had no idea that that was a thing until I found out lots of women have it. But again, we never see that anywhere. I mean, by this point I was a 30-year-old woman and I didn't even know that that would happen after having a cesarean, because I'd never really seen that on any other female body before, which is sad. I mean, it's not that bad. But I'd never seen it like people in bikinis. I'd never seen it in a magazine or in a movie or anything like that. People who'd had cesareans seem to have a very toned stomach when it's in the movies. So for me, I was quite upset and I felt really disconnected from my body at that point because it didn't feel like mine. I mean, after my second son, I kind of went back into reasonable shape quite quickly. And I felt very different. I still had postnatal depression or depletion, I think, for me, after each of my children. But it was just this very, very different experience after having a cesarean. So that's one kind of event that can happen when we start to feel disconnected. We can feel disconnected even from a very young age when we start to get breasts or hips or look different to our siblings or look different to our friends, because especially as young girls, everyone's body develops at very different ages in a very different pace. So for me, I got, I've never had massive boobs, but I got them quite early. I got my period quite early. And so I just felt like I was weird. And so I always felt this kind of level of disconnection with my body from a very young age, because it never looked like the images in the magazines. It never looked like the movies that I was watching or the TV shows that I was watching. I never had a body like that. And so I always felt disconnected, like, what's wrong with me? And then as I've gotten older, I've started to learn that, all our bodies are very different. But it's taken me a really long time. And it wasn't until I went through this whole journey of reconnecting with my physical body through masturbation, through connecting with my sexual energy, it wasn't until I did all of that that I started to really appreciate and love and treasure my body for what it is. It's created humans. It carries me around all day. It helps me do the work that I love to do. It helps me have amazing sex. It helps me connect with family and friends and travel and do all these incredible things. But I wasn't seeing any of that before. All I saw was extra fat on my hips, on my thighs, on my back even, and my feet got bigger when I was pregnant and having children, and now I've got this massive tummy situation happening as well. So disconnected. And so when I was disconnected, I was searching in all of the wrong places for that connection. Because when we're not connected with our physical bodies, we're craving something. Like we know that there's something missing. What is it? If we don't love our bodies, if we're not feeling confident in our bodies, we start looking elsewhere for that connection. And I see it often online. I see people trolling. They are just absolutely hideously rude and disgusting and vile. The language or the typing that comes out of their keyboards is because they don't feel connected with themselves. Because if you felt truly connected with yourself, if you felt truly in love with your body, your physical body, and all of that energy, you would not need to be vile to other people. You would not need to cut other people down to make you feel better about yourself. That's what trolls are doing. I don't have time for that. So people will cut other people down to make themselves feel better through trolling on the internet, through comments made in friendship groups, at work, in mothers groups. Fuck, it's awful in mothers groups. It can be. Through school groups, through parent groups, through all sorts of different social circles where people try to cut other people down when they are disconnected with themselves because it makes them feel better if they see themselves as higher than other people or that particular person that they're targeting right now. The problem with that, it's a shit of a life and you never fully feel connected. You don't feel connected with yourself. No matter how many times you cut other people down, you will never feel that connection that you're craving. And it's one of those things that we need to learn. And it's not until we start having these deeper conversations that we can actually understand what it is or why we have done the things we've done in the past. And what we need to do now to move forward, to grow, to be better as a human, as a person. So when we are disconnected, we'll target other people, try and cut them down. But I see it as a very common thing, especially among women. A woman's doing really well in business and then other people try and cut her down, make her feel back on their level because they don't like it, seeing someone else doing better than they are because they don't have any confidence themselves. When you are fully connected with your body, the difference is you're cheering those women on. You're cheering those people on. When they are succeeding in business, in life, in love, in whatever it is, in financial situations, the women who are connected deeply with themselves are cheering them on, right? They're not trying to cut them down. They don't need to cut them down to make themselves feel better, not at all, because they already feel fucking amazing. And I've seen this example all the time. There's this beautiful woman on Facebook, Constance Hall, who is a mum. She is a wife. She has a number of children. She's been running this social media platform, this freaking massive empire of women's clothing and other products. She does incredible work for charities. And yet she is the target of people to cut her down all the time because she doesn't look like the typical celebrity. So there seems to be like people who are feeling disconnected with themselves seem to be able to find things to pick on her about: her appearance, how many children she has, that she's onto a second marriage, all of these things that they seem to pick on her about, all because they don't love themselves. Because I see her and I just cheer her on. Like, she has done something truly phenomenal. And she is copying this bullying constantly. And it's all from women mostly as well, which is just awful. But it's all from people who are disconnected with themselves. The other things that we turn to when we're feeling disconnected is that we turn to addictive behaviours. Overeating, undereating, or eating disorders in general. We turn to alcohol, cigarettes, gambling, shopping, all sorts of other addictive behaviours. Now, I am the first to raise my hand. I have an addictive personality, absolutely. For me, I need to constantly manage that. And I'm a pretty self-disciplined woman, to be honest. I look back and I always judge myself thinking I wasn't disciplined enough, I didn't do this enough, I didn't blah, 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 blah. We can be very critical. But I know I'm a very disciplined woman, and I need to be, because I like the life I have. I love the life I love the life I have as well, but I also love the life I'm creating. And I would never want to put that at risk by falling into addictive patterns, which I know is very possible. It runs in my family. It runs in society. If we're not careful, we can fall into that trap, and it can really mess our life up. So these are other things that we can turn to when we're not connected with ourselves. And when I talk about sexual energy, it really is about connecting and embracing our real self. It's about connecting and embracing who we really want to be. And I was doing a training inside my course, and I was talking about how we often don't understand who we want to be because we are so confused by all of the messages that we get from society, from family, from friends, from partners, from all of these things, from all these sources. We have their definition of success ingrained into our minds. And so if we're not achieving all of these elements of success, then we feel like we're a failure. And then because we feel like we're a failure, we can never start to look at the things that we're really good at. And if we stopped and really looked at the things that we're good at, we would start to see perhaps that's the path that we want to go down. Perhaps that's the life that we do want. I'm really good at running a business, doing online marketing, understanding, breaking down content to teach other people. I'm really good at that. But when I'm stuck in an office environment, 5 days a week, 9 to 5, I am stressed to the max. I cannot perform. I have no creativity or creative ideas coming to me when I'm sitting at a desk in an office full of people. I get headaches. I'm exhausted by lunchtime. Like, it's really draining for me to be around lots of people all the time. And that's really what an office environment is. So I've realized that is not the life I want. But isn't that the safe option? Isn't getting a job the right option? Is that the only option? No, it's just not. But being raised in my family was that, you should get a job. That's the safe option. That's the only option. If you're running a business, oh, geez, is this just a little hobby? Oh, are you at this again? There's no, well, there is support, but it's like previously, before I showed them that I could actually do this, there was a lot of nervousness around, why are you doing this? Just go and get a job, it's safe. Well, during all of this kind of COVID situation, I was made redundant. So does that make it safe? And I know I'm certainly not the only person. Businesses around the world are making people redundant. So, really, is having a job the safest option? Or is running a business where you have more control a better bet? Again, we can question all of our beliefs, all of our definitions of success, and then we can start to really understand what it is that we want. But if we're not connected, we're going to be looking in all the wrong places. We're going to be seeking approval from everybody else except for ourselves. And I don't want that for you. I want you to start to question if it's you, if you are turning to alcohol or excess shopping or trolling. Fuck, if you're trolling on social media, if you're about to write something on social media that is horrible, I beg you to stop and think, that is someone that is going to read that and it is going to hurt. And it says so much more about you than it says about them. Actually, it doesn't say anything about them. I mean, what is it? I think there's a saying is, unless you've got haters, then you haven't really tried hard enough in business or in life, really. But I want you to think about the actions that you're taking day to day. If you don't feel good about them, stop and think, why? How can you get into alignment with your physical self so that you can really, really live the life that you want, so that your actions, your words, and your life are all in alignment and it feels fucking awesome. That's what I want for you. All right, I might finish that episode there. I love putting this podcast together. I feel like it's just all of my daily thoughts that I get to just put out into the world and for you to listen in on those. I get to summarize some of the conversations I have with family and friends. And, you know, we're in a stage now where we're starting to be way more open to the deeper level conversations. And it's fucking exciting. I love it. So I will be back again next week. I hope you have an incredible week. Now, I was talking about some of the content that I do have in my online course. If you're interested, I would love you to just check out my free workshop. I have a free workshop that I will put the link underneath this episode so you can go and check it out. And I go into so much more detail than what I've gone into today, all about how you can start to embrace your sexual energy. What does that even look like? How can you start practicing that today? And it's a free online workshop. Just head to the link and you'll be able to get instant access to that. And I really think you'll enjoy it. We've had a lot of people going through that and we're getting great feedback. So go and check it out. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast and I will chat to you next week. Bye.